Here we are at the end of Hanukkah, and as you know, in the Christian calendar, it's also, New Year's, the beginning of Hanukkah was Christmas, and we talk about Judaism, we talk about Christianity, so what's the difference? So I think there's a major difference when it comes to the concept of the movement. Christianity, that's what it's all about. It's all about faith. Faith. And according to Judaism, at Har Sinai we said, Na'aseh v'nishma. The first word we said is, we will do. What does it mean that Christianity is about faith? So it's very simple. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're damned to hell. It doesn't matter how good a person you are. You're damned to hell. And the converse is true. If you believe in Jesus, all is forgiven. Right? There's a very strange story that I once read. As you know, Adolf Eichmann was captured by the Mossad, brought to Israel, stood trial, and was executed for crimes against humanity. Now, before he was executed, the church petitioned the state of Israel to have a priest administer last rites. And a priest came and met with Eichmann, and when he came out, so they all the reporters came and interviewed him and said, what happened? So basically what he wanted to do is get Eichmann to say he believes in Jesus. Okay, but Eichmann, didn't say anything. So the reporter said, well, if he would have said that he believes in Jesus, what would have been his faith? He said, he would have gone straight to heaven without having to go to purgatory. That's it. That's the ticket. You say you believe in Jesus, you're in. Then a reporter said, must have been a Jewish reporter with chutzpah, said, what about his 6 million victims? He said, oh, well, they're all damned to hell because they didn't believe in Jesus. It's that simple. You believe, you're in. So you would say to, what about people that never heard about Jesus? I know some Aborigines in Australia, they never heard of him. This guy's, he's doing Hachnasat Orchim, he's doing Bikur Cholim, he's Menachem Avel. He's just this good guy. Maybe he even, like Avraham Avinu, realized there's one God and he davens to him, Well, he doesn't believe in Jesus, but it's not his fault. All right, we try to get everywhere. What can you do? It's as simple as that. Judaism says, go ahead and get Olam Haba also. You don't have to be Jewish to get Olam Haba. That's one of the reasons we don't try to make people convert. It's a lot easier to do 7 than 613. You can get into Olam Haba with the 7 mitzvah. You're good. You're good to go. You don't need to do everything. The Yerushalmi goes further. There's a Yerushalmi quoting a pasuk in Yirmiyahu, where Kadosh Baruch Hu is lamenting to Yirmiyahu, Oti azvu v'torasi lo shomeru. Talking about Bnei Yisrael, saying that they have forsaken me and they don't keep my Torah. The Gemara says, puts the words in God's mouth, Halavai oti azvu v'torasi shomeru. What's halavai? If only, I wish, right? God's saying, I wish they would have forsaken me, but at least kept the Torah. Keep the Torah. Why? So here's the idea. Belief without action is unacceptable. You just sit there and say, I believe in God, but it doesn't translate into the way you live your life, that's unacceptable. Belief has to lead to action. Now, action without belief, that's okay, because that's called b'tochlo lishma b'lishma. So I'll start off doing things, and hopefully, the belief will come at the end. You fake being a tzaddik long enough, and hopefully, you'll be a tzaddik. But that's action. We can start with action. You have to do the right things. Hopefully, the belief will come at the end. But just to believe, and it doesn't affect the way you lead your life, that's unacceptable. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have, okay, we didn't just say na'aseh, we said na'aseh v'nishma. Right? It's not enough to just do. We do have a belief system. Okay? The Rambam, as we know, famously made 13 principles of faith. Others have different principles, but there definitely are ikarei Emunah. It's not enough to just act. In Judaism, no, it's what's interesting when it comes to our belief system, we don't just analyze it. We declare it. We daven it. Every day in our tefillah, so much of the davening is compiled over centuries. So much of the davening is declaring our belief. So, for example, dualism. It was very prevalent. Two gods, the good God and the bad God, right? So what do we say in the davening that would be against that? What? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Okay, that's very good. That's for sure. Number one answer on the board. Ding, ding. Okay, also, there's a pasuk that we change at the end, right in the beginning, right at the Baruch Hu, where it says, Yotzer Or V'rei Choshech. How does the pasuk continue? Good. The pasuk says, Borei Ra. And we switch it to say what? Borei Takol. But God does good, God does everything. God does everything. Okay? And it's not two different gods. In response to the Tzdukim, who felt that there was no Tchias HaMesim. Remember Rav Yoel spoke about this? The second bracha of Shemona Esrei. So it talks about Tchias HaMesim 5, 6 times, depending on how you count it. Right? Over and over and over, we talk about Tchias HaMesim. In response to the Christians, who felt that every man is born tainted because of original sin, we say, Elokai neshama shenatata bi Torah. It's Tahora. In response to the Karaites, who felt that you're not allowed to have fire burning on Shabbos, we learn the Mishnah of Bamem Adlikin every Friday night to talk about the candles that do have burning on Shabbos. In response to those who felt that the only mitzvahs that were important were the 10 Commandments, we removed it from there. Okay, it used to be, if you look at the Mishnayos, it was said in the Beit HaMikdash, it was said after Shema. We remove it so that people shouldn't think that's the only thing that's important. And of course, we have Yigdal with the Rambam's 13 Principles of Faith that we sing in our shuls. We pray our beliefs. You can have an atheist, he can be an upright moral person, but he believes the world is a very sad place. But someone who has Emunah, even during the darkest periods, just had an amazing example of it listening to Mrs. Frankel. If you have Emunah, it gets you through because there's something more important that you can believe in. Gives you hope to continue, to move on. Today's Emunah Day. Okay? Emunah Day. And why is this day different? So it could be that when you're in Shir every morning, so you're learning what? The what of Judaism. And when you go to Halacha Shir, you're learning the how. And today is the why. Why? Why do we do things? The Kotzker Rebbe once asked his students, where is God? And the students answered, everyone knows, Hashem is here, Hashem is there. You know, they knew the story. And he said, Hashem is where you let him in. Hashem is where you let him in. This is what Emunah Day is all about. Is Hashem in your life? Can you honestly say Hashem is in your life? Now, I don't want to say that, here, can one have a meaningful life without religion, without belief in God? And the answer is yes. Yes. You could be committed to your family, and you could be committed to, let's say you have a job where you're helping people, and your neighborhood, and you have meaning in your life, 100%. But you're missing something. Okay? It's like having a smartphone and using it just to make phone calls. There's so much more there. So yeah, you have something. You have something. But there's so much more there. And if you don't have God in your life, so you're missing out. We say in the davening, Tamu Ura'u Kitov Hashem. Right? It's a pasuk in Tehillim, we say it on davening on Shabbos. Judaism needs to be experienced. Right? There are many people, you can talk to them, and sometimes you have these Israelis that aren't religious, and they go to some Leil HaSeder in India, or in Thailand, and it changes their life. Or there's a famous philosopher, Franz Rosenzweig, who spent one Yom Kippur, in a shul, and it changed his life. Judaism has to be experienced, right? A Shabbos meal, singing, zmiras, having conversations, no one on their phones, no one running out to appointments, right? Any of you ever hear of Uri Zohar? Okay. Uri Zohar, once a few years ago, Rabina actually invited him to the yeshiva. to speak. Uri Zohar was like the most famous television and movie personality in Israel. He, if they would have had Academy Awards, he'd be the guy, he'd be Billy Crystal. He had his own TV show, and he was in all these movies. He was Mr. Personality. Everyone in Israel knew Uri Zohar, and he disappeared. And a few years later, he came out from. And what happened? And years went by, and no one knew. He wouldn't tell the story. But you guys sort of like know this family a little bit. We all know the Zilberman's family in Rova, but all the school there with all the kids running around. So the father of the now Rosh Yeshiva was like some other Rosh Yeshiva. This is the story that I heard. He was once walking and has a conversation with Uri Zohar. And Uri Zohar says to him something to the effect, I have a million questions. And he goes, I have all your answers. So he said, really? Really? He says, come spend a Shabbos with me. So Uri Zohar, went to some hotel nearby in Yerushalayim, booked himself a room, walked to the Zilberman's family, and he spent the Shabbos with them. Now, how did this come out? Because, talk about terrorist activities, just spoke about an hour ago. So many years ago, I don't remember actually how long ago, maybe it was like 20 years ago, a woman and her child were killed on a bus in a terrorist act. And the woman was this Rabbi Zilberman's daughter. And Uri Zohar went, now he's already a frum guy, and he went to pay a shiva call the first day, second day, third day. People said this is a little weird. He paid a shiva call once. Why he kept going over and over, and then he finally told people because of this relationship he has. What happened? He goes to Zilberman's house for Shabbos. And he's blown away. He's blown away by the fact that families sit there and they talk. No one's running anywhere. He's blown away by the respect that the kids have for their parents. How they talk with kavod to their parents, how they're helping. How saying, can I do this, can I do this? And he just looked and said, that's the family I want. And it didn't matter, if they spoke about any of the questions that he had. He decided then he wanted to go to yeshiva. So first he started, a little bit at a time. Then all of a sudden he appears on television with a yarmulke and tzitzis. People are freaking out. Then he just disappears totally. When he comes out, he's got a hat and a jacket. But Uri Zohar, what turned him wasn't some philosophical, problem that was now answered. It was looking at this religious family. Tamu'u re'u kitov. Right? Get a tasty as see. That's not enough, obviously. You have to continue learning. Right? I remember I once had, I wanted to take, a friend of mine showed me all this stuff from Aisha Torah, proofs of God's existence. All right, looks good. Can I make a copy? This was like 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So my friend goes, oh, you have to ask Rav Noach. I said, really? I have to ask Rav Noach? I just make a copy? Yes. I said, all right, fine. So I asked Rav Noach Weinberg. He says, of course you can make a copy. But I remember asking him all these proof stuff, I'm not into that. He said, if it gets the guy in the base medrash, are you okay with that? I said, 100%. He goes, okay, me too. He goes, that's what we're trying to do. So if this proof, that proof, get someone to continue learning, that's it. You have to continue learning. This is the beginning. Maybe let's say shana out. Now I have to sit and learn. Uri Zohar himself said, when did it really click for him? There's a gra, Perish of the gra and Shira Shirim. I forgot right now which, right in the beginning, where the gra shows how every single thing is interconnected. How the Lashon Zachar is talking about something in Torah Shabbat Tam, Lashon Kevin, Torah Shabbat Pen, 5 times this and 6 times this, and the Chamishim Shetor and the Shisha Sivra Mishnah, and everything works together in Pasuk. And he said, wow. Sometimes I see it on your faces when some of you guys come out of Shir for Chaim or Mendel, and you go, wow. Just how everything just works, blows you away. That's what you need. So, Talmud Ukitov, you have to see, that starts, but you have to continue learning. You have to immerse yourself in learning, in Talmud Torah. There's a story of a few maskilim, right? During the period of the Haskalah, Jews were now saying, wow, I could really advance my intellectual capability by going to university, and a whole bunch are ready to go. But one went first, before they started, to yeshiva. He went to go learn Winter Zman, and the idea was to see if there's anything Judaism really has to offer. When he came back, Pesach vacation, His friend said, "Nu, did you get all the answers?" He said, "No, but I'm no longer bothered by the problems." Sometimes all you need to do is immerse yourself in learning, and you don't have any questions. I remember I was a little disappointed the first time reading Rav Soloveitchik's Halachic Man. He says that biblical criticism doesn't bother him. I was wishing that it did so he could write all the answers. But he was like, yeah. And like for many people, that's it. I could put myself in learning and nothing else bothers me. And for those who don't, so we have Emunah Day. Okay. Sponsored. Okay. So we need to, not everyone, that's enough. So we need to look into these things. In my opinion, there's 4 kinds of Jews. The first kind is the one who, the famous words about Rosh Yeshiva, your stupid mother, and his stupid mother, is Jewish. That's it. The only thing that makes him Jewish is his DNA. Right? He's got a Jewish mother, that's it. Otherwise, he has absolutely no Jewish identity. Okay? Obviously, a Jew like this doesn't have much of a Jewish future either. Okay? Unfortunately, that's a very large percentage of Jews. Second Jew, I would say the cultural Jew. Okay? What's the cultural Jew? I know in America you eat bagels and lox. Israel, I guess you have a sufganiyah, Hanukkah. You light the menorah, because after all, it's holiday season. My neighbor's got a Christmas tree, so I'm going to light a menorah. It might be chashma, electric, but I'm going to light one because I'm going to listen to Adam Sandler's songs several times. So I'm a cultural Jew. You might give money to the UJA, go to the Reform Temple on the high holidays, obviously on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, because we need the second day. But you don't feel really any obligations to Torah, or to Jews, even for that matter. It used to be a generation ago, Jews gave their tzedakah to Jewish causes. Now Jews still, the surveys show, give more tzedakah than non-Jews. They give it to museums and hospitals, cultural things, humanistic things. No relationship, no obligation to Israel. In fact, some of our biggest critics are self-hating Jews who attack Israel. And basically, I'll give you an example. Shlomo Carlebach said that when you go to university and you try to find the Jews to talk to, you would say, what religion are you? And the Christians would say they're Christian. And the Muslims would say they're Muslims. And when someone would say to him, I'm a human being, he said, Shalom Aleichem, let's talk. Right? So, Jews, I'm a human being. Right? Judaism for these people is humanism. Okay? That's the second group of Jews. Also, quite a large group. Third group, I'll call them the Shomrei Mitzvot. Okay? People who, more or less, adhere to mitzvot. They come in all shapes and sizes. Once when I was teaching, a student asked me what my definition of orthodoxy was. My response was, orthodoxy is where we hold the Shulchan Aruch up on a pedestal from where we fall short. Right? We have to do everything. No one's perfect. But we know I have to do everything that's in the Shulchan Aruch. But once you start ripping pages out of your Shulchan Aruch, you're no longer orthodox. Okay? So, there are people that, let's say, more or less, like I said, more or less, keep mitzvah. Some of them, cut corners for convenience sake. There are students, maybe even sitting here, that in high school might have gotten hundreds on their Hilchos Shabbos test, but themselves were Machal Shabbos. I had a student once a few years ago who even told me, you can't count me for a minion because I'm an Apikoros. Okay? Here, I'll give you a Hanukkah example. Why didn't we use Tamei oil? We were allowed to use Tamei oil. Why didn't we use Tamei oil? But the Evid was okay. And that, I think, is like this group of people. They try to turn b'di'evids into l'chachilas. Anything that is mutter b'di'evid, all of a sudden becomes, okay, I'm going by that opinion. I'm looking up coolest.com. Whatever I can find, the most lenient opinion, that's where I'm going. These are the people actually looking for a cooler. Some people, like I said, just for convenience sake, ripped pages out already. So these are the somewhat observant Jews. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's like that's my family minhag type of thing. It's like, oh, you eat turkey on Thanksgiving and I don't, so you keep your minhag. But it had nothing, there was no feeling. Right? There's a famous story told that there was this guy who was in the Chavetz Chaim's yeshiva. And for him it was all intellectual. So on Shabbos, when he heard an amazing shir, he went back to his room and started writing up the shir. And when his roommate snitched on him, okay, he brought the Chavetz Chaim's office, and the Chavetz Chaim just started to cry. And all he could say was, Shabbos. Shabbos. And that changed him. Remember, when he saw how much it was killing the Chavetz Chaim, it changed him. So Rabbi Riskin tells this story that he was saying this story over in Florida, like in the 1970s, and some guy stood up and says, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. I'm that guy from Yeshiva and Rad. Right? It's a true story. It's not a apocryphal story. I'm that guy. So, how much do we care, and how much do we just do? Right? And that we get to the fourth group. And this is where we should be striving. Right? I say we, I mean me as well. Right? I was once asked I was teaching in a girls' high school, and I went into the classroom to get something, and the teacher stopped me and said, do you consider yourself a religious Jew? And I said, no. Probably not the answer the rabbi thought I was going to say. I said, observant, yes. Religious, I don't know. In my opinion, a religious Jew is someone who is constantly thinking about God. He leads his life, the whole thing, God-centered. I listened to Rabbi Wein a lot. He would talk about certain rabbi that he worked with in the OU, who would always ask himself, and what would God say? Every single thing. I'm happy when I think about God when I daven. Okay? Do I think about God all the time? All the time? Is my life revolved around what does God want? That's a religious Jew. How many people go to shul, and how many people daven? How many people do things because they have to do it? How many people do things because they want to do it? Right? That's the difference. A lot of people in this room are, doing all the mitzvahs, or as many as you can. Or we're doing it because we know we have to, or we're doing it because we want to. I believe that our belief system could be summed up with one sentence. Basically, it's Birchas HaTorah. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Right? Asher bachar banu mikolam, v'natam lanu es Toraso. God revealed His Torah to the Jewish people. So there's a Gemara that says that Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because we failed to say Birchas HaTorah. What does that mean? So one opinion is, the Ran says, we treated it like a subject. And anyone in this room who went to Yeshiva High School knows exactly what that means. Right? Oh, I got a bio test and a Chumash test. It's just the same thing. It's a subject. It's a subject. That's one interpretation. But I saw another interpretation. And that is, we failed to realize Hashem Bachar Banu. Kadosh Baruch Hu chose us. It's an amazing thing. Very often people walk around feeling Judaism is a burden. Really, we should be so proud. Kadosh Baruch Hu chose me. It's an amazing thing. Asher Bachar Banu. It's an amazing thing. This is extremely significant. The Torah is our constitution, as individuals and as a nation. We should take pride that we were chosen. There are people that are kitnei Emunah. We have to become gidolim in Emunah. We have to recognize this. We have to recognize Baruch atah Hashem. We have recognized that Kadosh Baruch Hu created, sustains us. He takes care of everything. Hashgacha pratit, this is what Hanukkah is all about. Kadosh Baruch Hu is involved in my life as an individual, as a nation. I have to recognize this. And from the nigla, from the miraculous, realize the simple things, the things that we take for granted, the everyday miracles. Right? I just came from a bris this morning to a grandchild. Every birth is a miracle. We don't need oil burning 8 days to recognize a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Any parent sitting in this room knows the birth of their child, you felt, wow, I'm involved in a miracle. Okay? Miracles happen all the time. Second, Bachar Vani Mikol Am. Rabbi Yaakov Emden was once asked, what is the greatest proof for God's existence in the world? And he said, the fact that Jewish people are still around. What an amazing thing. God chose us, and we continue to survive. And not just survive, but we're supposed to be role models to the rest of the world. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, there weren't Jewish people. It was going to be a whole world of monotheists. But that didn't work out. So God, according to the Parish, the Akedah Yitzhak, or Yitzhak Arama, he said that Migdal Bavel, God gave the entire humanity this feeling of Achdus. But he used that to rebel. So God said, all right, who's alive at this time could be a role model? Avraham Avinu. And then the Jewish people, came into existence. Our job is to be role models. And then, V'natan lanu et Toraso. This is an amazing thing. If I was reading the bracha, I would say, V'natan lanu es Torah. What's Torah? This is God's autobiography. This is His Torah. This is how we know God. God created the world. This is the instruction manual. He's telling us how to live our life. V'natan lanu es Toraso. I'm going to end now. Emunah is based on the word Uman, not the location, okay? But Uman is a craftsman. Emunah has to translate into action. I have to live my life as a Jew, individually, nationally. I told you who the last year. It's not enough to learn Torah. I have to live Torah. I have to see what's Ratzon Hashem. And then, this is why I do mitzvahs. I don't do mitzvahs because I'm scared. I don't do mitzvahs because I'm trying to rack up points. I do mitzvahs because I feel Kadosh Baruch Hu has been amazing to me. And He tells me what will give Him nachas. He said, do this, He'll give me nachas. And the same way I want to give my parents nachas because of everything they've done for me. So I want to do that to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu has been great to me. I live at this great time period. We're here in Eretz Yisrael. What can be? It's amazing. Why would I not want to give God as much nachas as I can? So I have to learn Torah, and I have to live Torah. Thank you very much.